Hi guys, we're going to look at lesson 5 today, which is about exploring functions using a graphing calculator. Now I know a lot of you don't have a graphing calculator, but what we're going to do is we're going to use the Desmos beautiful free math graphing calculator. I strongly suggest you install the Desmos app on your phone if you have the memory. It's a great free app. You'll use it the rest of the time you're in school, the rest of the time you're doing math. It is free. It's easy to use. If you don't have the room on your phone, that's fine. You can go to the Desmos website. It's desmos.com. And we're going to hit graphing calculator. So desmos.com. So why don't you pause here and either install that app or open up that website, and we'll have the PDF next to us. So we're going to do the work on the graphing calculator and just put our answers on the PDF. Once we're in the Desmos website, I'm just going to hit graphing calculator and we'll get started. Now Desmos looks like this. It gives us the X and Y axis, the coordinate plane. I can zoom in and out using these buttons over on the right. Zoom in, out. That little home button, if I've zoomed, it'll take me back to kind of a square -10 to 10 window here. These little spots on the left of my screen, if you're on the app, they're probably at the bottom of your screen. That's where we're going to enter our math. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the PDF and read through here. It says graphing calculators are powerful tools. That is true. We use them for all kinds of things. And we're going to work on, for this first exercise, we'll do this first question. I'm going to do two or three little shorter videos today because I can't make a whole video it doesn't matter. So I'm going to consider this linear function, f of x equals this, and it says do the following using your calculator's table function. So it wants us to evaluate this function at 3 different points. So what I'm going to do is we have 1/2 x plus 2 in Desmos. I'm going to go in and I'm going to type exactly what it says. F parentheses x, f of x equals 1/2. Now on my keyboard, that's the slash. On the Desmos keyboard, I think there's a fraction button, or you can use divided by to represent a fraction. Make sure you arrow out of the denominator before you put the x in, and then plus 2, and we can see there's our function. So there's a graphical representation of that function. Desmos is great in that it gives us important points. It gives us the y-intercept and the x-intercept right away. On your graphing calc, the $100 graphing calc, it's a lot more complicated to get those values. So what the PDF asks us to do is evaluate that function at these different values. Well, if I go into Desmos, the next line down, because I've written that as an f of x, I can say, find for me f of -6. And look what happens. Desmos spits out the answer. Now, we could have done that in our heads. That's not a hard question, but no matter how difficult the function or how difficult the value we're looking at, Desmos will do that for us, and we don't have to worry about the arithmetic. F of 0 is 2. F of 8 is 6. So it gives us those values. The PDF asks us about a table. So a table in your graphing calculator takes a while to get to. In Desmos, nice and easy. I'm going to hit this plus button. When I do that, it allows me to add a table. So again, if you're on the app, there's a plus button there. Click on table. Now we notice what the table gave us here. It gave us a little x sub 1. So that's the name of our variable. And then it gave us a y sub 1. Well, I don't want it to be y. I want it to be f of x. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to type f of x, but I want to do x sub 1. Now on my keyboard, I hit shift and the little underscore, which is over the minus sign. I'm going to put a 1 there. If you're on the Desmos keyboard, if you hit that ABC button, there's a little underscore, or there's a little a sub b, and you would click on that to put that, that subscript of 1. Okay, so here's what that allows us to do. The PDF says, we're going to skip question B for right now. Use the table to fill out the following table and graph the function on the grid for the interval. It says -6 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 6. So it wants us to go when x is -6 to 6. But if we look at the table here, they're actually counting by 2's. So it doesn't need every value between -6 and 6, but by counting by 2's. So watch what happens. If I put in -6 for my first value, it gives me -1. If I then put in -4, it gives me 0. Great. If I hit enter, it knows now, based on those first two problems, the first two values I entered, that I'm counting by twos. All I have to do is keep hitting enter, and it will continue to count by twos because that was the pattern that I set. If I didn't want there to be a pattern, I could certainly type anything else in there. But look what it did. It gave me not only those points in the table, which you can now transfer over to your PDF, it also put them on the graph for me too. So we can see those dots showed up, those points on the graph. So the table function is a nice one to have in Desmos. I'm going to scroll back up here. Question B asked, explore the table to determine the value of x for which f of x, that's the output, equals 11. So when is the output 11? Well, it's not 11 yet. Let me see if I keep hitting the inputs. Oh, here's an output of 11. The input was 18. So when x is 18, our output is 11. So this graphing calculator, this Desmos, does great things for us for free. We don't have to do any work, just know what to plug in. Question D here says, on the same set of axes, and you should draw what we have on Desmos, draw that onto these axes. It says graph the linear function. Now it's calling it g of x equals 5 minus x on the same set of axes and find where the two lines intersect. Well, okay, I can do that. Right below this table, I'm just going to click on the next line, and I'm going to do g of x equals 5 minus x. When I do that, I can see right away, there's where they intersect. And again, if I click on that point, it tells me they intersect at the point 2, 3. Again, on the $100 graphing calculator, it takes a lot of work to get a point of intersection. Desmos, just touch it and it's right there. So I'll leave this to you. This last question says, show that the point that you found in D is a solution to both equations. What they want you to do there is plug in the values 2 for x and 3 for y and make sure that each of these are correct. So I did this out kind of sketchy here. There's the 2 for x and the 3 for y, and I plug them in and I verify that they're correct so that the left side is equal to the right side. So half of 2 is 1 plus 1 is 3. That's my xy coordinate. X is 2, y is 3. Sorry, I can't do this neater for you. And then I do the same thing for the other one, so I'm showing algebraically that they intersect, not just graphically. That's it for the first side. I'm going to do a second quick video for the second side. Desmos, good stuff.